I help them find their voice and trust it. The best material to do really is material about yourself and your own life, because then nobody can take it. I had to find a higher power. I feel like it's kind of blasphemy, the higher power that I have now. The higher power I have doesn't have a gender, doesn't have a name. Like, I can call my higher power God, but it's the God I have now does not care if you're like swearing at God or using God's name in vain. That my higher power doesn't care about any of it. Catholic school kind of made me an atheist.
God's just a horrible comedian.
The audience on the planet is gay men. They want you to cross the line. Talk about how Trump doesn't take ownership for anything, so his suicide note would read, "This was a murder."
All right. Hey, Jackie, we're going live any second now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I want to do a shout out to Madeline Olnick.
Well, Madeline Olnick. Madeline Olnick. I should know that name.
She's the director of all the movies I did.
That is exactly what we should talk about there. Madeline Olnick, here we go. Hey guys, we're back. Today we're talking with Jackie Monahan. Jackie headlines at the hottest comedy clubs, regularly appears on TV, has a cult indie following, and was voted comic to watch by Esquire magazine. She just did Blasphemy, a 1-hour network stand-up special that's based on her life as a recovering Catholic. We're definitely going to talk about that. She also stars in Queer Riot, a documentary on queer comedians. She does stand-up at major comedy clubs all over the globe, as well as at recovery centers, jails, hospitals, and other institutions. She also teaches comedy and believes that your worst day can become your best joke. I love that philosophy right there. Jackie, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fabulous. And there's one big thing that I wonder about comedians, and I've always wondered about them. And do comedians always have to be on? Do people expect comedians to be funny like all the time?
That's a great question. And I think it varies on the person. There are some comedians who you never would think they were comedians. And there's people who always have to be on. I feel like I personally didn't feel like I had to be on. I guess I secretly did feel like I had to be on, but I wanted to be on all the time. But now I don't. Now I love conserving my energy for other things, but I can find something funny in every moment. Like, I think it's silly to not be finding things funny at like traffic or waiting in line for something. Like, if I can't make myself laugh during that, like I'll just get mad.
So you teach comedy, which that is definitely a rare skill, because I think that most people aren't funny. The fact that you actually give yourself to teach is awesome. So how do you teach someone to be funny?
I help them find their voice and trust it with all they have. So, but it's a matter of finding it. And the best material to do really is material about yourself and your own life, because then nobody can take it. And yeah, I love teaching comedy because I love teaching people to express what they're going through, because otherwise you hold it all in. So it's really nice to let it out. I know for me, if I don't do stand-up for a while, I'm not as joyful. I'm more happy when I do stand-up. But I know it's not for everybody. But I feel like learning the skill, like a lot of people have come through my classes and are still doing stand-up. Like, one woman just did her one-woman show, and it's amazing. But other people just go through it to have that skill. Like, they want to do public speaking, but I think it's you can use it for Twitter or TikTok. Like, it's just a skill.
Do you think that doing the actual stand-up act itself is different than sitting down and just writing something for Twitter, writing the joke? Or do you use that same inspiration, I guess, to come up with funny stuff all the time?
There are some jokes that translate to Twitter, and there are sometimes that a joke doesn't work on stage but works on Twitter. So it's nice to have both outlets.
So how did you get into it? Like, what made you go like, you know what, I want to be a comic?
I actually, my ex-wife, who's still my friend, got me to do stand-up. Was like, we lived in New York, and she was like, you've got to do stand-up. So I did it, and then I've been hooked ever since.
Wait,
But
so
yeah, but I was scared. I didn't want to do it.
I can't even imagine. Like that first time you walk up to the mic and you're going, I'm going to make these people laugh. Like, tell me that story because that terrifies me.
It was interesting because I had just not even a few months prior to that, I had jumped out of a plane. So I kind of felt like I did that. I can do this.
You're talking about parachuting.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, I had the same feeling. I had a big knot in my stomach. It was the same exact feeling, only yeah, it was a lot easier to just do stand up than to keep jumping out of a plane because I enjoy that feeling. I feel alive when I feel like I'm doing something that wakes me up. But like you're so awake when you jump out of a plane, and you're so awake when you do stand up.
So why did she say that you need to be doing stand up? What prompted her? Are you just funny at parties, or did you have life stories to tell, or what's
I made her laugh all the time, and even when I was 3, I overheard my mom would tell stories of stuff that I did, and her friends would say, she's a comedian. And I remember being like, what's a comedian? I didn't even know. So I was really called one very early. And I was voted funniest in school and class clown. They had 2 sets of superlatives, and one I was voted funniest woman, and the other one I was voted class clown.
That is awesome. Did you have other people that you bounced your ideas off of, or did you just write them down and just start telling them in the stories? What'd you do?
I mostly just started telling them because if I told people, I mean, there's so many jokes that I told people and they were like, eh. And then I just didn't do it on stage. And then later I would just happen to say it and they would kill. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I knew right away not to bounce them off one person because it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. So when you actually are teaching people and they go like, I want to be funny. I want people to laugh. Like, is there some kind of psychology that you go through that says, why do you want people to laugh? Or what do you get into with somebody if they want to be a comedian?
I believe for me, it's something that something that I just had to do. Like I can't keep it inside of me. I just have to. I have to do it. I have to make myself laugh. But I think there's all different reasons to do it, and I think I really spent half of my stand-up career thinking you're born with it. But the other half of my career, I'm like, I think anybody can kind of do it because it's just genius attention to detail. So I saw people that weren't funny doing stand-up and they just stuck with it and they became funny.
That is,
Which
I've seen those people and they don't become funny and they just keep going. Like, when does somebody
really,
go like, no, I believe you because you've been around a lot more comics than me. But then there's the people who just keep telling jokes and the jokes just bomb and they're just not funny, but they're funny inside their heads. But
well,
I don't
maybe I
know.
should go hang out with those people.
Oh my
I've
God.
just I've just seen a lot of people really that I really was like, oh, they're not funny at all. They're never gonna make it. And now they have Emmys.
Okay. Do you think most comedians are like introverts? Are they extroverts?
I think introvert extroverts. I
Yeah.
mean, I've witnessed both. I'm an introvert extrovert. When I drank, I was an extrovert extrovert. I didn't know I was an introvert. And now that I'm sober, I know I need a lot of alone time. But then once, I scream out in public, I'm an introvert. Like I do have a lot of extrovert
Yeah.
parts of me. but I'm also an introvert. I can go from, you know, big crowd to big crowd to big crowd, but in between I need some alone time, some meditation, and some having me for myself time.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I just talked about was your new show, Blasphemy. What brought that up for you? Why do you need to be a recovering Catholic?
Because for me to get sober, I had to develop a new relationship with a higher power. And it's completely different from the one I was taught. But Catholic school kind of made me an atheist. It really did. It really did. And I had to find a higher power. So I feel like it's kind of blasphemy, the higher power that I have now. The higher power I have doesn't have a gender, doesn't have a name. Like, I can call my higher power God, but it's not uh it's God doesn't the God I have now does not care if you're like swearing at God or using God's name in vain. That my higher power doesn't care about any of that. So a lot of stuff that the Catholic school taught me, they would consider my God that I have today blasphemous, I think.
There you go. But it's your God and it helps you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, my life is transformed having this loving God.
Okay. And is it a God that you, I don't want to say invented, but you definitely believe in?
Right.
And is it about based on any sort of religion, or what's it based on, you think?
Yeah, zero religion.
Okay.
All you know, nature's my church. Stand up is like service. Like, yeah, there's no religion. I feel like religion, people use God to feel superior to other people. Like, they're like, this religion is the best, and if you're not doing this religion, God hates you, and that's just not true.
And then you find these things and you make them funny, or they just seem funny, and then you just tell other people and they find it funny. Which one comes first, the chicken or the egg there?
It's a mixture of both. Like, sometimes, I mean, my God, like, I go to write something and God can write through me, and I'll write a joke. But also my worst jokes, like, I'll sit down to write a joke, a thought-provoking joke about Roe v. Wade or suicidal ideation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just thought-provoking, long 5-minute joke. But God just downloads jokes to me that are the worst. They work, but they're dark. They're really dark, and they just come to me. So I'm never sitting down to write these jokes. Like, I get the darkest jokes from just like a download.
Okay.
So I know that God doesn't care what.
So God's just a horrible comedian. You need to take your class.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So definitely one of the things that's important to you, and you've got your new show that's coming out soon, is it being queer and being a comedian. How is being queer and a comedian different than being not queer and being a comedian?
Okay, being queer and being a comedian. Well, I started when there was more homophobia.
Okay.
So, but it's interesting because Queer Riot is a lot about this, because it's different for each queer comedian. Like, one queer comedian can do all straight shows, and one queer comedian can do all gay shows. I kind of am a nice blend, but
Mm-hmm.
I really, it's kind of, it's really fun to do queer comedy because, you know, you're just around people that also have been through something,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a shared bond. Like, yeah, so it's sometimes more fun. I have fun no matter what. It's just, it's a problem that I have.
Your being fun is a problem. I don't see you having a problem being fun from me talking to you.
Yeah, I really have fun no matter what show I do, but there's something special about doing a queer show for sure.
Is it the audience that makes it more fun for you? Is that what happens?
It's both the audience and the other being with fellow comedians that are also queer.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
if there is the audience part of the show for you? Are they like
Best audience on the planet is gay men.
oh yeah.
They want you to cross the line.
I wasn't gonna. I have to ask now. Crossing the line. How far does that mean?
They're gonna laugh at anything that they're not easily offended.
Okay.
Yeah, I shouldn't speak for all of them, but I mean, when I look out and I see a mostly gay crowd, a gay men crowd, I'm just like, woohoo. But I love lesbian crowds too. I love all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Yeah. The
you
audience definitely is part of the whole thing.
what's it like when you actually do a show in like the prisons and stuff? Because that seems like a tough gig right there.
I love it. It's interesting when I go into prisons, I'm excited. I'm really like alive and excited when I'm heading there. And then I'm alive excited when it feels extra. I feel extra alive because I feel like there's so much I want with my comedy. I want people to leave with a feeling of hope. And there's no other place that needs hope more than the jails. And yeah, I feel like people in jail really had hard childhoods. And I just feel like there's a giant need for reform, and I really want people in jail to feel hope.
I can understand that. What's the most gratifying show you've ever done, you think yourself?
I'm definitely in jails for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. After I leave, I feel like every cell in my body is just like so alive, and it's like that for days. And also, I guess the same when I do a taping. When I do a taping, I'm really alive, and
Hmm.
I'm doing a taping Sunday, so like just leading up to it, I feel really alive.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I think there are so many disenfranchised, forgotten, like people in the world, and the fact that you go out and touch them with your comedy has got to be that good feeling you're talking about. So,
Yeah,
what is
for
it that you want people to really understand about you and about comedy in general?
About me, I guess that I've been through a lot, and comedy has really helped me through
Mhm.
all of it. I don't know if I would even be alive if it wasn't for comedy. But but that doesn't mean because of stand up, not stand up, but laughter itself.
Mhm.
Laughter itself has kept me alive. I couldn't live without laughter. It's my favorite. I love laughing.
What's the big thing that you want people to understand about just this world in general that you go like people are missing this? That's like, yeah, God's not a good comedian, but I'm going to get this message across and I want people to understand it.
I really, really feel strongly about not feeling superior or inferior to anybody. That I feel very strongly about this. And if it was taught and because there are people that are monsters in the world.
Yeah.
And when we really attack those monsters and feel better than them, we're becoming monsters ourselves. But I mean, I still want to point out the horrible things for sure. Like my suicidal ideation. My suicidal ideation joke, I just talk about the wrong people have suicidal ideation. Like it would be better if like Trump or Putin had suicidal ideation. That would be way better. And yeah, I talk about how Trump doesn't take ownership for anything. So his suicide note would read, "This was a murder."
It probably would.
But yeah, so I I like to bring up, like, if you're having suicidal ideation, you're the wrong person because you're a good person. Like, don't do it. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I don't want anybody to commit suicide. It's a joke. But yeah, I really want to do away with people wanting other people to change for them to change, for us to change first, because then we'll see it. Like, let's just, like the Obama say, go high. Like to go high, to not, but I do have jokes where I say that I'm superior, but it's a joke.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the most humble person in the world.
And you humbly say that out loud, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want people to be able to get in touch with you, see your shows, learn from you, attend the performances that you do. I don't want people to do that. I want people to let's do it this way instead. They can find you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Jackie Monahan, and you're Jackie every place.
Yes.
So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
We will do this the proper way and do the outro. And I will see you soon. I'm going to find a way to get to one of your live shows. I've seen you on Showtime. I've seen you on your YouTube. I've seen you on other places online. I want to touch and feel and say hello.
I can't wait. That'll be really fun.
I will find a way. Okay, Jackie, thank you for being on. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Now you can dance.